podcast virgin Ray Fryer is very nervous, people. So I want you guys to keep that chat live, keep him on his toes, because we don't mess around at Roto Heat. We throw you in the fire. That's what the heat's all about. If you can't handle it, get out of the kitchen. But I think Ray's going to do fine. Oh, Jesus. Paul, go play poker. You said you weren't going to be here. Anyways, tonight's episode, other than breaking Ray in, is about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Everybody's favorite team. All kinds of value on this Buccaneers team. And I say that with some slight sarcasm. First of all, you can watch us on Twitch, you can watch us on YouTube, and you can watch us in our Dynasty fantasy football community on Facebook, and also on our Facebook page. So just go to rotoheat.com. You can find all our different outlets, and you can read great articles by Sean Coffey. Ray, when he decides to do anything, he just kind of likes to hang around and be the groupie and show his face for the first time here. I'm really going to eat this up the whole episode. So you guys are just going to have to deal with it. Oh, I thought he was froze on the screen, but I think he was just, like, stunned.
Yeah, just starstruck, you know?
Oh, geez, Nate says, did somebody say poker? Nate's going to swoop me up, kidnap me, and take me to the casino tonight. Okay, so first, let's talk about these running backs for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Ray, we're going to lead right in and let you give your opinion on Mr. Ronald Jones.
I want no piece of him at all. There's only one running back I want off Tampa Bay, and it's not Ronald Jones.
Okay, I just got to let you know that I understand you're nervous, but you're talking really fast. So slow down just a little and let it all soak in. But you don't want any Ronald Jones, so is it Peyton Barber that you're looking at?
No. I'd actually take a flyer on Andre Ellington before both those guys. Just watch.
My mind's blown. Because people have been saying to take a shot on Andre Ellington since like 2009, and here we are in 2019, and I don't think I could buy into that.
Barber has a hard time staying healthy. So does Ronald Jones. And the fact that Bruce brought Ellington with him when he went to the Bucs, that he's got to have a role somewhere. He's the cheapest one, and I'm in. I'm in.
All right, I'm going to look at the. Okay. When did this dude come into the league? 2013. So not quite 2009. I exaggerated just a little bit. But this guy has not had more than 45 touches since 2015. He is 30 years old. I don't see it. Personally, I don't see it. But at the same time, I also think Ronald Jones is horrendous. And Barber leaves a lot to be desired. But I think he's clearly the best runner in this backfield of this group. Andre Ellington may have a role, but it's hard for me to see him getting more than 45. I mean, I was like barely 30 when he got more than 45. Let's see, how many receptions did he have? He had 60 touches that year, and he hasn't had more than 50 since. That's a bold take, though. I like it for the first one. Just going straight for the jugular there. I like it. Now, you've been quiet, Sean.
I was looking up Allison's stats there when he said that.
Like, we got to look up this guy.
Well, the main reason I was looking him up is because I had made the connection right away he was talking about with Bruce Arians. I was trying to see if maybe he could be a third down back if Barber wants to continue with the first. I'm not understanding really why Jones is going so high as he is in a lot of these drafts. We have him right now as 97 as his ADP value. The only thing we can really say positive about Jones's year last year is he did wind up with more touchdowns than Melvin Gordon had in his rookie year. Other than that, it was pretty much just Peyton Barber all the way, even though he didn't even get over 1,000 yards rushing.
Yeah, well, looking at that team last year, and I do want to say Andre Ellington has had a lot of injury history as well. So, at some point, all three of these guys could not be the guy, to be completely honest. But last year, man, it had to be hard to be a running back in Tampa Bay. They were trailing by so much, so often, and throwing the ball, and it wasn't conducive to a run game. There were a lot of games where he didn't have very many touches. He got a little better towards the end of the season, but if people seem to think that Arians is going to improve this offense, if in the passing game they think he's going to be the quarterback whisperer and all of a sudden turn Jameis Winston into a leader and a good quarterback, and if that happens, then it's got to get easier for the run game. Not that he's going to be a stud, but at his price, I'm willing to take a shot on Barber. I just realized, because we did the Chargers episode last night, Ronald Jones is more expensive than Austin Eckler, and that blows my mind.
Everyone's willing to write off a rookie year just to see if they can wind up getting lightning in the bottle for that second year and seeing if someone moves along, it seems like, for running backs. But if it's a wide receiver, they'll try to write them off right away, it seems like.
See, and I don't know about you guys, but normally when a running back's that bad right away, then they're just not a good running back. Running backs tend to produce right away. They don't take 2-3 years to get going like wide receivers do. It's hard for me to put a top 100 value on Ronald Jones when he was bad. Like, that was like historically bad. And I didn't like him before that anyway. So it's just crazy to me. And I think it was like 30 spots. What was that ADP scrolling? What was that? Ronald Jones, 97th.
7.
And let me look at Eckler's 129. 32 picks later. Almost 3 rounds. Give me Eckler all day, every day.
It just seems like this year a lot of people are more willing to jump on that Ronald Jones bandwagon than last year. Everybody's trying to write off Corey Davis because of his bad rookie year.
Yeah, but wide receivers and running backs are a lot different. I mean, wide receivers...
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, wide receivers just don't produce right away in the NFL very often, but running backs typically come in and produce. When they get action, you've got the guys that don't touch the ball at all and then take 4 or 5 years before they get any, your Justin Forsets and, guys like that get an opportunity later in their career. But guys don't normally, suck and then get good in the NFL. And not at running back. But you guys think that Tampa Bay would entertain trading for Melvin Gordon if the Chargers did end up putting him on the block and trying to remove that cancer from their locker room? What do you think, Ray?
I don't know. It's hard because if they do make the move, then all this Ronald Jones love that's coming from inside Tampa, like if you've seen any of the reports, best shape ever, the coach speak, right? But if they moved him in, I think it would be great. It'd be a good fit because it'd be like David Johnson, basically.
Did you just compare Melvin Gordon and David Johnson?
Well, with Bruce, yeah, I think that it would be a perfect fit. watch Melvin Gordon's catches go through the roof, just like David Johnson. It'd be great because then it'd open everything else up. Smart if they do it.
Everybody knows my Melvin Gordon hate. It's kind of like my Rojo hate, so we won't go down that track. But Sean, what do you think about that whole deal? Do you think Tampa Bay thinks they have a good enough roster that they'd pay him $10.5 million and give up a little bit of draft capital?
The only reason why I could see them really wanting to do it is to see if they can bring more fans to the arena. I don't think that they might think right now that they have a shot to compete, but after like week 5 or something like that, after seeing the Saints and the Falcons take off, I don't think they're going to really have much of it willing to pay a running back $10 million, especially behind that bad offensive line.
And they're not going to be leading in a lot of games either, because that defense took a big hit this summer too.
Yeah, I don't think they have the roster to do it. I know that they've been a team that everybody has mentioned in regards to that. But let's move away from these running backs because there's not much here to get excited about. But when we get into the passing game, there are some options. There are some guys that people are very high on. And obviously the first one is the 13th overall player in ADP, Mike Evans, who has had one of the best starts to a career of any wide receiver ever. He's been very consistent to start his career. Do you guys think he is undervalued or overvalued, or is he right in that prime spot that he should be? What do you think, Sean?
I think he's right around where he should be. Me personally, I'd have maybe Hopkins, OBJ, and then like Adams, Evans. Because I think most of the receivers around that. Oh, and I forgot about Michael Thomas. Sorry. Because after those 4 or 5, I think that's pretty much a nice spot for him to be in. He can make a whole bunch of different catches. He's like their main. He can be a red zone threat if they need him to be, but he catches just about everything thrown to him. What about you, Ray?
I think he's right in that sweet spot. Him and Michael Thomas could flip for me, but I'm okay taking him at 13 every time.
Yeah, I think he's undervalued. I think he is probably a top 9 player. I mean, looking at the list, I see Melvin Gordon at number 9, and that's just nuts to me. I will take Michael Evans over Melvin Gordon every day of the week. Let's see. I would take him ahead of Juju at 10. So, like, 9 is that spot for me. So, I think he's a few spots below where he should be. But, other than, Juju, I'm not taking Bell, Johnson, or Gordon ahead of him. And I would debate that with anybody. I can see if you want to take Juju, there's the 5-year difference. I won't really argue with you about that. But this guy's he's consistent, and they haven't got consistent play from the quarterback. And if everybody believes that Arians is going to make, this big difference with Winston, then I think Mike Evans needs to even be higher. I mean, look what he's done when, before Winston gets guru'd. His numbers could just go through the roof if they have more consistent quarterback play. And if the next guy, Chris Godwin, who is, what was he? 51st
50
overall, the 23rd wide receiver. If he makes this jump, that only makes it easier on Evans. Now, why does it say? I looked at the wrong age, and I thought that was funny. So I'm going to correct myself. There's only a 3-year age gap, not a 5-year. Before everybody out in the internet verse just screams at me for not knowing math. No, we're not going to talk about Bruce. We talked about Andre Ellington instead. Okay, so anyways, what I was saying is if Chris Godwin improves like everybody thinks he's gonna, then that's gonna make it easier on Mike Evans as well. So looking at Godwin at 50, what do you think, Ray, on where he is going?
I think he's a little too low for me personally. I would take him over Geis at 45, Ridley at 46, and Henry at 47 for sure. He's right in that area.
Wait, say that again?
I would take him over Geis at 45, and I'd take him over Ridley there at 46. I think he belongs right about 42-ish there. It'd be a toss-up between Montgomery and him for me personally.
You're taking Chris Godwin ahead of Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, I think so. I think this is his year. I think this is a breakout year for him, and I just think that's where he should be.
I can see if you want to take him ahead of Derrick Henry or, like Andrew Luck in 1 QB at 44. But
yeah, that's where I said.
But yeah,
right there.
Ahead of there's no way I can take him ahead of Calvin Ridley. Come on, man.
Ridley is still going to be in Julio's shadow for as long as Julio's there. Sure, Julio's at the end of his career, but so is Matt Ryan. And Ridley, I don't know, Ridley for me just needs to prove it. I think this will be Godwin's year that he really takes that next step, and he's that wide receiver too that everybody's looking for.
Sean, got to hear your opinion on this talk.
After looking up some of the stats from last year, and having him on a bunch of DFS lineups, I kind of don't want him on my team. I'd probably say it might be a little bit too high for me right now. Just the fact that out of his 59 catches, 22 of them came with Fitzgerald. You had 314 yards, or Fitzpatrick, 314 yards and 3 touchdowns also came with Fitzpatrick. So he wound up only with like the other 11 games of the season, he wound up with like only 500 yards and 4 touchdowns with Winston. That just makes me feel like Winston's looking at other ways than at Chris Godwin to get his targets in.
Yeah, so Anthony asks, what about Evans? Is that not a shadow for Chris Godwin?
No, but, well, yes, but Evans demands a double. And Julio, as he's getting older, they don't need to double him every play. You know what I mean? He has floppy toes, so he might not even be there. And then Ridley gets double covered.
All right. I think he's overrated myself. I think that, there's been a lot of talk about him not coming off the field, working in the slot, all that coach speak that we mentioned earlier. And just so everybody knows, coaches don't talk bad about their players that are actually playing. So don't read too much into all the good talk, like the especially the Ronald Jones stuff. Like, they're not going to talk bad about him. Like, they probably fear for the kid's life after the way his rookie season went. But when I look down here and I see Jarvis Landry, Corey Davis, Tyler Boyd, Tyler Lockett, Evan Ingram, Phillip Lindsay, Kenyon Drake, and they're all below him. Allen Robinson is below him. All those guys that are below him, all those guys should be ahead of him. I want them way before I want DJ Moore's behind him right now. Like, that's crazy to me. Not that Chris Godwin can't be good, but he doesn't have the upside that all those guys have. And that just it boggles my mind that he is ahead of that many guys in ADP right now.
Well, I had a quick question too. With the people left in free agency, you had 117 catches and almost 1,600 yards leaving free agency. Like, is there someone that we see stepping up to take some of those targets and yards away and 9 touchdowns? Like, that was Deshaun Jackson, that was Adam Humphries, who both left. I don't see them all going to Evans and Godwin. Is that going to go to Breshad Perriman or one of the rookies they drafted, do you guys think?
I think that Perriman showed last year that he can play. And he might not be the dynamic wide receiver that everybody thought he was when he went in the first round coming out to when Baltimore drafted him. But then Baltimore's offense has really, the passing offense has really kind of been a mess of sorts, other than, the deep ball to, Steve Smith when he was there and John Brown at the beginning of last year. But then when, obviously, Perriman got released and went to Cleveland, he had some success in an offense that was actually on the up. So I think that he's going to be a big part of that passing game when we're talking about the wide receivers. I think that, we're going to see Evans get a share of those. I think Evans is going to be as involved or more involved than he's ever been. I think Godwin's going to get more. And I think that that Perriman's going to get some. I think that the tight ends are going to get more, which we'll talk about those guys here in just a second. But Perriman is actually one of my favorite, dark horse targets. A guy that's really, really cheap, but I feel has a chance to carve out a role in an offense finally. What do you think about Perriman, Ray?
I've been burned by him in the past, but I think that you're right. I think he has the opportunity. It's just, can he produce? Humphries left out of the slot, and he left a lot on the table to be had. He was one of Winston's safety valves, or Fitzpatrick's safety valves too. But I think that if Perriman actually plays well, he could hurt Chris Godwin. But I'm banking on Perriman not playing well. He has the opportunity, that's for sure. It's just, can he produce?
I'm not going to argue that Perriman's definitely somebody that could completely bomb in his opportunity. Sean, what do you think about what are your thoughts about Perriman? Do you think that he has a legit shot?
I think he has a shot to try to take that Jackson role from last year, where the whole streak, and where he's spreading out the defense for everybody underneath. Maybe try to get a couple of long bombs like what we were talking about. And then a couple of rookies that they got last year, I also like it for him as well. But it's just, I think Perriman has a shot in doing it. It's just whether or not him and Winston can be on the same page.
Yeah, when we're talking about this passing game, it all comes down to the guy we're saving for last. It comes down to Winston. Does he improve? Does he lead this team? If Bruce Arians is this guru quarterback whisperer that everybody's making him out to be, then all these guys could have fantasy value. I just can't, when I look at this ADP, there's just a lot of guys going behind Godwin that I can't fathom picking him ahead of. And that's what is crazy to me. Excuse me. So let's get into these tight ends. We've got O.J. Howard, who is undeniably the most skilled tight end. We've got Brate that will vulture because that's just what he does. But he's not a bad tight end. He's a guy that they actually extended after they got O.J. Howard. So do you think that OJ can take that next step and become a top? A lot of people have him. They think he can be a top, 3 tight end in this league, top 4. Where do you see him finishing at, Ray, this year?
I see him finishing right behind Kittle at 4, right where he's at, the number 4 tight end off the board. When he's healthy, he is just a force to be had. He put up 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 6 weeks in a row there, minus the bye, that he put up more than 10 points. He put up 21 against the Panthers last year 2 touchdowns on four catches. That's not repeatable, obviously, but he's 6'6", and Winson loves to throw just to the tight end in the red zone there. So hopefully he can finish right around 4, right behind George Kittle.
What do you think, Sean?
I think he'll finish as the second tight end on this team. 3 of his touchdowns came from Fitzpatrick, so Winston only threw 2 to him. He wound up with only 18 receptions from Winston, even though he did miss like the last 6 weeks, I think it was, due to an injury. It's just that Cameron Brate caught 5 of his touchdowns from Winston. He always seemed to play well with him. That's why this tight end, it just always seems to be a split. So it seems like they're both going to be like low end tight end ones. Like one could be 8 and 9, it could be like 7 and 11, who knows? But I don't see them being that high up in the top like half of the first tight end one.
Yeah, I think for some reason Winston and Brate have kind of been like best buds. They've had a lot of action together, but there's no denying OJ Howard's skill. But the thing is that I think Tampa Bay's offensive line, and I'm not 100% sure, is supposed to be pretty decent, which helps OJ Howard because he's such a good all-around tight end that if he has to block, then Brate's the one running routes because they do run double tights a lot, and they'll both be on the field together. But OJ is like an extension to the offensive line. So the way the offensive line is playing is going to be very dependent, or he'll be very dependent on the way the offensive line's playing on how many routes that he gets. Dang, Sean, you're just like shrinking up into the corner here.
Wait, what?
Little tiny Sean on the stream. Your video just shrunk up there on us. For some reason, it does that.
Mine too.
Oh dang! What the heck is going on?
I'm melting.
That's what it automatically, when you have a bad take, it automatically shrinks your video until you're non-existent anymore.
Oh, wow.
So why do we still see you?
Cause man, my video's getting bigger. No, I think both these guys are skilled. It's actually kind of terrible that they both play on the same team. I think they are going to cannibalize each other. Paul he's a Tampa Bay fan, so I don't read too much into it. He says that OJ is going to be the tight end 1 overall. That's not going to happen. I think that it's obvious that that's going to stay with either Kittle, Kelsey, or Ertz.
Or Ingram.
Or Ingram this year with 0 wide receivers there in New York. But it's not going to be OJ Howard. I'm sorry. He is good. I'm not going to say that, but I think he's going to be. There's a good chance that his entire career he's going to be sporadic. He's going to have games where he has that 60-yard touchdown, because that's what he's done a few times in his career so far. But I think that there's going to be a lot of games where he's going to have to be used as an offensive lineman, and that makes it it's really hard to catch the ball when you're blocking. Some of these
with how bad the offensive line was last year, could you see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers implementing a 2 tight end set like the New England Patriots used to do and have 2 just dominant tight ends going in the middle there? It would kill Chris Godwin basically, but I mean, if their offensive line is that bad and they want to win games, it might help.
Yeah, I actually think they're going to run a lot of double tights. I mean, you pay those guys. All right, we already knew that news. What were you saying? Oh, look, Sean, both of you guys must have had good takes because your video expanded there. So good job. I'm proud of you guys. Sean, did you have anything else to say about these tight ends there? Is there anything else you want to...
Not really. Most of their targets seem to be about the same, no matter who's throwing the ball. And it's just most of their scoring came within the red zone, which you can expect from tight ends. They're not going to really, score a lot of 50-yarders, except for that one or two you're talking about from Howard. But I think we pretty much have it covered. I'm just surprised Cameron Brate didn't make our top ADP ranking is all.
I think it's hard to judge, and especially a lot of people are worried because Arians has never really utilized the tight end a whole lot. So what's going to happen there? Is he going to not utilize either of them in the passing game? Is it, it's just, I think this whole tight end situation in Tampa Bay is up in the air. What are you laughing at?
It just looked like Ray's screen is zooming in really bad.
Oh, yeah, I fixed it. It should be updating again.
They were just looking at my beard, that's all.
Now yours did it again. This is crazy.
All
right.
We just have great takes, that's all.
Yeah. I can't wait till you get smaller again.
It'll be soon.
Yeah, when we talk about Jameis.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and get into it. Obviously, Jameis has, and I got to pull it up because the scroller's not in the right spot right now for me. But I think he was 64 in Superflex. At one point in this offseason, he was a back end, third round, top end, fourth round pick in Superflex, which boggled my mind. I think that where he's going now is an easier pill to swallow. Personally, I actually got him in our Superflex tight end premium auction that we did, and it's weird because I've been very critical about his quarterback skills. Most of it being this, and not his technical skills. But he's not a very good leader. He doesn't make very good decisions. That stuff's hard to fix. He's got talent and raw skill, but I think everybody's banking on Bruce Arians being the quarterback whisperer. But in this range with his upside, I can handle that. What do you think, Ray?
I think that he's undervalued because I think that Arians actually will be a quarterback whisperer. The kid has talent. You got to remember, he's only 25 years old. It takes a while to become a pro. In your head, you got to take this young kid that has all this talent in the world, throw all this money at him, and hopefully he develops as a man to become a professional. And I think that Bruce will be the coach to help him make that turn, because I think he'll instill all the confidence in the world in this kid, and I just think that not the sky's the limit, but he should be ahead of Dak for sure. For me, I'd put him right ahead of Dak there. I'd take him before Prescott every time.
Sean, what do you think?
At 13th quarterback. Sorry, just looking here. Yeah, right around there. It seems about right. Like you said, he has all the talent. Maybe moving him up past Dak, maybe even Newton. But having all the talent, having the receivers he does, and the game plan they had last year, who knows if that will change this year. But even his rushing alone will help out. So he has the athletic ability, and I know his youth and everything is part of the reason why everyone's drafting him so high. But having the receivers, tight ends, everything, I think it's a good value. So
yeah, he's definitely always had some decent skill players around him. The running backs haven't been very good. Doug Martin maybe had a decent year one of the years, but nothing great. But I mean, he's had the wide receivers and tight ends the entire time he's been there. Obviously, it's it's a luxury when you get to throw to a guy like Mike Evans. But I look at the ADP. There are a couple guys behind him that I'd probably rather have, but they're all in that same range, and they're all pretty interchangeable. The thing I would say about Dak Prescott, everybody knows I'm not a Dak Prescott fan, but he doesn't turn the ball over, and I think that's going to. He's at least gonna be able to start in a super flex for a long time because he's gonna have a job. Because if you can not turn the ball over, then you're gonna have a job. Winston, just like the other guy that was drafted the same year, Mariota, if they don't make improvements fast, they're gonna be on the outside looking in. And I don't know that they'll get an automatic shot to start for the next team that they play for. And I don't have as much faith. I asked this question a couple times. Ray, you think that Bruce Arians is going to be this quarterback whisperer. So I want you to explain to me which quarterbacks he's been a quarterback guru with and that he's turned into a superstar.
Hold on 1 second. At every place that he's gone, the quarterbacks haven't been a liability. He made Carson Palmer relevant.
Wait, he made Carson Palmer relevant?
Well, he wasn't bad.
No, what I'm saying is that Carson Palmer was, kind of good before. He was a highly touted prospect coming out of USC. Another one's Peyton Manning, who we all know that story.
And the same thing goes with Adam Gase with Peyton Manning. Everybody says Adam Gase is a quarterback whisperer.
Well,
but is it Peyton Manning or?
Well, that's
right.
That's my point. Is that is he really making quarterbacks, or is he in situations where quarterbacks are making him look good? I could say same thing. Adam Gase definitely, was beneficial, but he did have. Oh, sorry. I got news about Antonio Brown, so I was reading that. All these guys that are gurus, I always look at who these players are that get them that moniker of guru or positional whisperer, because I think it can be very, very overrated. That's why I'm not as confident that he's going to come in and flip. He's never flipped somebody around and turn them into a star when they were terrible. You know what I mean? Peyton Manning had, his rookie year, he broke touchdown records and interception records, but he was never bad. Carson Palmer was never there were some years, but Cincy was more of a mess than Carson Palmer was, if you remember those Cincinnati years.
Yeah.
When he was in Pittsburgh, he took Ben and made him into a good professional football player. And now if he can take Jameis and do the same thing with him, then I think Jameis has a higher ceiling than Ben. And Ben's throwing 600 yards in a game, 500 yards in a game.
Now, I'll be completely honest. I don't remember Ben at the beginning of his career, but was Ben ever bad?
I'm a Steelers fan, so he wasn't bad.
He was a game manager basically at the beginning of his career.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering is, I honestly don't remember. I'm not trying to be a smart ass when I asked that. I don't remember. I'm not a Steelers fan. That was a long ass time ago. We're talking about an old ass quarterback that's been around the league for, when did he come in?
2002, I think.
Yeah. And then I know you're, Sean, I know you're a Bengals fan, so you remember the early Carson Palmer days.
Yeah.
So, he was never bad. They had some good years.
Palmer is good up until that knee injury he suffered in the playoff game.
Right.
For us.
So That's all
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying that Jameis can't be good. He has the skill, but I don't know that he's got it above the shoulders. And that's, Jay Cutler. How many different people were fixing Jay Cutler along his career? It was the same thing. Physical talents, there.
The
Upstairs,
thing
not so much.
the thing is about Jameis, though, you have to be careful of with it being dynasty fantasy football, is even with Tampa Bay, or he has a decent year this year, building on what he did last year. If they still wind up being a top 5 pick team, which is possible, they could still wind up taking a quarterback to replace him.
And that's what I'm saying is that I don't think he's safe. I mean, I I don't know. I don't know. There was a point last year where people were seriously considering whether he would take the job back from Ryan Fitzpatrick. The same guy that is in a quarterback battle with Josh Rosen right now.
Yeah,
So
like
that was up for debate, and that's scary to me.
I'm not saying he's bad, he's gonna have a bad year, but it's still something that could be there. If you like in a lot of teams like 2 years ago where had a top 10 pick and they went up taking a quarterback and their team wasn't like that. Those quarterbacks weren't necessarily performing that bad.
And
So
and that's the thing is that there's been a lot of quarterbacks drafted in the last couple of years. There's probably not going to be a lot of teams that need to take a quarterback. There's going to be a few, but if everything falls right, teams that don't even need one are going to take one just because of value. So even like you said, even if he has a decent year, they could have somebody in there behind him. I think it would be a smart decision because I don't think you know when the lid's going to pop off of that kid. Just my 2 cents. But all right, we're going to tighten this up. 49ers beat writer David Lombardi is reporting wide receiver Trent Taylor has taken his receiving presence to a whole new level this camp. More camp talk for you. Make sure you go out to your waiver wires and pick up Trent Taylor. All right, so we do this at the end of every episode. We're looking at the ADP here. I have super flex up. I'm gonna go back to regular. So I think we have 3 players in the top 100 of Dynasty ADP. If you were going to pick one, Sean, that's going to fall out of the top 100.
You have 4.
4 in the top 100. We're not counting Ronald Jones because if he's in the
I was going to say that one, but
that one's too easy. That one's too easy. So out of the top 3, God, I can't believe you people don't draft Ronald Jones in the top 100. You're killing me. Out of those top 3, which one do you think would drop out of the top 100?
the one that would probably drop the most out of the other 3 would be Godwin. I don't know if you drop out of the top 100,
Well,
but I could see him falling the most.
It's theoretical, Sean.
Right.
I don't think any of them are falling out of the top 100 either.
Yeah.
But
So I'd say Godwin.
But if one of them was gonna drop, who's it gonna be?
Godwin.
You say Godwin, and I don't think Ray's gonna agree with you. So what do you think, Ray?
It's got to be OJ Howard for me. The tight end position is so like 1 year it's so finicky, you know what I mean? 1 year it's like you're a top 100 guy, and the next year you do nothing or you get hurt, and then people forget about you.
People didn't forget about Hunter Henry.
Well,
I would have to say Howard too, just because I think that his there's more potential for him to be hurt in the offense than there is for Godwin. I do think Godwin's going to get a lot of action. So I would have to say Howard too. Is there anybody on this roster that's not in the top 100? They don't even have to be on this sheet. It could be Breshad Perriman, or Andre Ellington, or somebody was talking about Bruce earlier. Is there any player on this team that you think could jump and get close to that top 100 ADP? Why don't you start us off on that one, Ray?
If you're making me choose one, I think Jameis could jump into the top 100 if he has a good year. Because, like I said, he's still young. He's got the coach, and if he does it this year, then he's still got Evans. Godwin has a good year. I could see him jumping up there.
Sean, take us away.
I agree with you about Jameis, but I could also see Jones being hanging around there just because everybody's wanting to hang on to the hype from last year.
Jones is already in the top 100. He does not count. He is not in this. He does not play in this. He's too close to both.
All right. But seriously, I'd probably say Breshad Perriman has a good shot if he can carve out that role and catch a couple of long passes a game.
Well, I'm going to go with Peyton Barber. And this is just simply because if he gets a ton of touches and nobody else goes in there and gets, sadly, if Ronald Jones is as bad as I think he is, then Barber could be a guy that gets 20 carries a game. And if he gets 20 carries a game, he's going to have fantasy production because that's just the nature of the beast. He did go in the top 100 in one of these drafts. So he's got a pedigree out of these guys. He's the only one that did go top 100 in a draft. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think anybody that's not in there is going to get close to the top 100. I think we see both these guys. I think we see these back three guys drop. And we might see some draft picks that are in that top 100. But I think these three, the top three guys, are going to stay around where they're at, and the bottom three are going to fall. And Tampa Bay is going to be picking very high next year. That would be my guess. Let's see if people in the chat agree.
You don't want to talk about Winston's backup?
I don't even know who it is. I'll be honest.
Blaine Gabbert.
Oh my God, I hate Blaine Gabbert. I know you did that. You did that on purpose, didn't you? Blaine Gabbert cost me $3,000. He can suck it. No, honestly, I hope Winston stays healthy, because if it goes to Blaine Gabbert, then Mike Evans has very little value. You will seriously be thinking, do I start Mike Evans? That's a sad proposition. O.J. Howard will have no value, and we don't want that. Like, I don't want these guys to have no value, but if Blaine Gabbert is the quarterback, no. All right, let's look at this chat. Paul wants IDP talk. I don't do IDP. That's Brad Menendez's thing. He's been sick and ignoring us, so hopefully he'll be back next week. If I ever have him on a pod. Sean, are there any IDP guys you want to mention?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head. I have to go through and look at the team again.
Quan
I think
Alexander?
Brad tomorrow, by the way.
Quan Alexander's still there? Is he worth it?
No, he doesn't play for them anymore, I don't think.
He moved on. I don't pay attention to IDP, so I'm not gonna act like I know anything. So sorry,
This
Paul.
is my first year in IDP, so
You're more Devy.
yeah, I've done a lot of Devi. I'm just trying to get into IDP, so I'm doing an IDP league right now.
Yeah, I'm
with Paul and Colin.
Yeah, I'm in an IDP league, but I don't like. It's like a keeper more than a dynasty. So I treat my IDP like redraft anyway. So any knowledge that I do have on IDP is redraft and not dynasty. So yeah, I can't help that.
Yeah. You have Devontae David. He's number 36 overall for IDP.
He gets a lot of tackles all the time.
Yeah, Devin White. Jason Pierre-Paul is still there. He's 149.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he was one-handed.
Gerald McCoy. And, of course, Vernon Hargrave's still there.
Their defense is going to be better than it was last year.
They lost Alexander, though. He was huge.
Yeah, but
That's a big loss.
I mean, they did get better as the season went on, but it can't be as bad as it was for like those first 6 to 8 weeks. That was just some of the worst defense we've ever seen. And when you couple a bad defense with offense being better than we've ever seen, it doesn't work out very well. So
especially in that division too.
right,
Gotta play the Saints twice, Falcons twice.
Panthers.
absolutely a bad proposition for any team. Guys,
Hello?
was that
Hello?
them
Hello?
damn Canadians still have
Yeah.
regular phones. I don't even know what they're called anymore.
Makes my
Landline.
internet cheaper.
Landline. Damn. Paul says the strong safety playing over for Evans is good. Cool. Awesome. Anyways, Ray, how do you feel now? You were really nervous when this started. You're
Pretty good.
You're ready to jump on another one, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I told you would get addicted.
I am.
Don't worry, we all sound dumb sometimes. I think we froze though, and I'm wondering if we're even still like streaming. You guys watching?
Yeah, the Facebook one looks good.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what
Okay,
I'm-
cool. Anyways, Ray, thanks for coming on. I'm glad that we got this out of the way. Maybe you'll start writing some articles so we can invite you back on. Sean, as always, enjoyed having you on the podcast. I'm going to look up real quick. Who the hell do we have tomorrow?
It's the Lions. I just looked it up for you.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tomorrow, Detroit Lions. All kinds of goodness there, too. I randomized this list, so however they come up, they come up. When are you guys on again? You guys signed up for more?
Yeah. I don't know when I'm on next, actually.
I'm on the 12th, I think, for the Jaguars. So
Well,
I could probably jump on one. I might be able to jump on one before that, but
all right. I appreciate it, fellas. If you're in the chat, make sure you go grab a Roto Heat T-shirt. $17.99 plus I'll give you 2 free months of premium. You get ADP rankings, fantasy points per touch. You get in the VIP group. DFS content is coming. If you play DFS, you'll want to get in there. So make sure you go to rotoheat.com. Subscribe if you're over on Twitch. Let me check that chat real quick. Make sure I don't ignore anybody over there. Bids Button says, "Sup, bitches." Sup, bitch. We are an explicit podcast, in case you're wondering. We try to limit it, but if somebody says "sup, bitches," I'm gonna say "sup, bitch" back. Ray's with Rob and I for the Vikings. I will tell you guys this.
Oh yeah.
Last year's Vikings episode was epic because it was me, a Bears fan, and 2 Vikings fans, and they argued. I didn't argue with either of them. They argued because they were on the opposite sides of every Vikings player, and it was great. I loved it. But yeah,
is there any way we can get like a Detroit and a Packer fan on there too?
I'll put 5 people on here. I don't care. We'll do it. We'll do it up. We'll just get a big brawl going. We'll get some fans in here too. I don't care. If you're out there and you want to be on a podcast, let me know. If you want to write, go ahead, Ray.
No, go ahead. Finish.
No, I was just gonna say, if you want to write, if you want to, podcast, if you want to do anything, write about any sport, fantasy, any format, hit me up, Rick at rotoheat.com. We can always use content providers. We're trying to put out the best content. We're trying to put out a lot of content. So let me know. Ray, take us out. You're going to close us out. Rookie on deck.
Thanks for watching.
I thought you were trying to say something. You didn't even.
No,
say
I was
it.
gonna say if you wanted fireworks, I'll go on the Cincinnati Bengal podcast and we can have some fireworks.
Do I? Is there still a? The Bengals is
That-
over. Thanks for being a team player.
Yeah, no problem.
We're gonna end the video right now. Bye.